All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This here is Conversations with the Crawleys. We do conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentaries on our show. In fact, for some of you that are watching this on Facebook, this is a sneak peek.
Sneak a peek.
Y'all not going to be able to catch Conversations with the Crawleys all the time on Facebook. We just kind of let y'all know we there. So definitely make sure you go over to the YouTube. I said the YouTube.
You did say the YouTube.
I go over to YouTube and get on Conversations with the Crawleys, where we do all of this stuff. And this is part of our, what we are calling the Empty Nest.
You said all of this stuff. I'm sorry. You said all of this stuff.
It's live. Listen, there is no replay. There's no you going back. So yeah, we do all that.
You do all that.
Anyway, if this is content that you enjoy, you know what to do by now. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, request notifications,
and share.
And go over to YouTube and subscribe again. All right. So this is part of our Empty Nest Chronicles series that we've been doing, kind of podcast style, kind of interview style. And we kind of stumbled onto somebody that we wanted to talk a little more.
Yes. She had a great interview with her fiance, but we wanted to talk about a lot about her journey, about being single and now finding true love.
Yes.
Black love.
So we're going to bring Kia on, if you recognize her, because she was on our last Empty Nest Chronicles with her fiance, Taurrie, who he a Dallas Cowboys fan, but we forgive him anyway.
Yeah, we forgive him. We laid him on the
and
cross.
We can do all this stuff now because he ain't on. So, all right, that's it. We'll bring Kia on and we will get started this evening.
Ooh, can we get her a hand clap?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey, Kia, how's it going?
Good. It's going good.
Well, what? Who's fiance?
Finance.
Who's finance?
Okay.
No one said finance.
No one said finance. I said a lot of different things, but I didn't say finance.
Right. But my understanding that you picked a good one. He got a little bankroll. So you did good. It don't hurt. It don't hurt. Oh my goodness. Well, as you were talking about your journey with your fiance, and you said such a lot of good stuff in there, and I was like, oh my gosh, we got to have her back. So kind of let's start from the beginning, right? Of your personal journey. Just kind of give us a little bit of background about, if schooling, your career, and kind of how you started your single dating life.
Your adulthood, yeah.
So I grew up in the church. And so, they practice, keeping yourself to yourself.
Okay.
So I did that. I didn't even date in high school because, I just didn't want to get myself in trouble there.
Okay.
Then I went to college and I dated a little, but not enough. I was really focused on school.
Okay.
And so right out of college, I landed my now career job. And so I looked up and I was like, oh, dang.
and what kind of so okay, was it a denomination? Can you go a little bit deeper? Like
we were non-denominational.
Okay, you were a denomination. Okay, and your family would say Your mom and dad were saved? Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
together, or were you from a divorced family, or were they married?
No, they were my parents were married, and they were still married up until she passed.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
they were
So you
together
had
for a
that
very
history of
long time. Mhm.
Seeing love, yeah.
seeing love in the family. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then what
Um,
did you get your degree in? What did you go to
I
school?
got my degree in human resources.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
At
Okay.
UCL. And
Okay.
so I started working and focusing on my career, and then I looked up and I was like, "Oh my goodness."
So when you say you looked up, are we
I looked
talking
up, I was
like
like, I'm single. Single, we don't,
Mhm.
clock is ticking, and I was just like, okay. But I wasn't in the space of, putting myself out there and all that.
Okay.
Um,
And there was no
so
pressure from family, like, girl, you single. Where's your boyfriend? Where we gonna have
your,
grandchildren? Da, da, da.
nobody reminds you that you're single more than your family. Your family will let you know.
Like we have a
That you
Christmas
are
dinner. Is there a
single.
+1 for you?
Right. So yeah, they will remind you that you're single. But I was very focused on, my mom told me, hey, look, you need to be working, you need to have a career, you need to be able to take care of yourself, because you don't know how things are going to go, and you don't want to be in a situation where you can't make a move if you need to.
Mm.
So I did just that. And so I started dating a little older in life.
Okay.
So
Around
when
how old would you say?
I was about 26, 27, I believe.
Okay.
Is when I started putting my toe
In the water,
there.
in the pool.
I mean, I had talked to people during college, did a little international thing because I was really focused. So, I didn't really date until after college, and I got my career and, going and moved out and was doing my own thing. So,
Gotcha.
Okay.
yeah. So dated a little bit. And then I got into a serious relationship that I thought was going to lead to marriage, even though the Lord was like, it's not it. But I wasn't in the space for that. I was like, look, this is the time, this is the person, let's do this. So I saw all the things, I heard all the things, I could, that it was red flags everywhere.
Okay.
But just that fear of
Mm.
not having what I want, that fear of not getting the things that I felt like was in line with Christ, so I was just like, look, this person's here, he's willing, like, let's do this. But that was not the road that God had for me. And so that quickly came, to a head after our 2.5 year.
Now, you said you had some red flags. I hear a little bit of feedback, but
I think that's on her side.
okay.
Yes.
So
Yes, it was it was a lot of red flags, actually, that
Let's be straight. It wasn't just a couple.
flags. Like,
it was a lot of
The
red
United
flags.
Nations of red flags.
But that fear, it was that fear that kept me in that relationship way longer than I had to be. I went through a lot of things that I probably didn't even have to experience, but because the fear I had of not being married and not having children and all these different things that I thought my life needed to flourish and be, successful and to be, all the things, I stayed in that relationship for way too long. Way too long. And not only did it affect me, but it affected my family, my sisters. It was just so many different things that happened that affected me in a negative way. That Christ didn't want that for me, but I wasn't in that. I wasn't one of those people that was praying for their future spouse. That wasn't even on my radar. I thought God got bigger things to deal with than just see what Kia is dating, who Kia is dating. Like, I just never really took I never really took that to Christ until
Wow.
later on in life.
Okay.
Okay. So let's kind of talk about, how did you recognize it was fear that was allowing you to stay in this relationship? How did you get to the self-awareness of that?
Well, when I went to therapy,
Oh,
because after the relationship had ended the way that it did, there was some healing that needed to take place before I could even think about being in another relationship. So
okay.
I went to therapy.
Mm,
I had I searched for a faith-based counselor
okay.
Mhm.
that could help me navigate the feelings I was feeling, the guilt that I was feeling, the shame, and all of those things, and relate it back to my relationship with Christ.
Okay.
Ah. Now, did you end it and that kind of felt like you needed to go through therapy, or the way it ended in
The way that it,
totality?
the way that it ended, because it ended and then it had to end again.
Oh,
So,
okay.
right. So the way that it ended and all the combinations that I recognize that, okay, I don't want to carry this hurt and pain and bitterness around with me. So
Got
Mhm.
it.
let me go to someone that can help lead me in the right direction and stir me
Yeah.
back on track.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. Understood.
therapy wasn't really common back then as it is
No.
now, but I recognize the fact that, girl, you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, because especially when you're in the being a believer,
Mhm.
a lot of time they say, girl, you just need to go to prayer night, talk to
Mhm.
the pastor, join some more Facebook groups, go
Yeah.
out, serve your community, and all of it's just going to go away, and God's just going
Yeah.
to just take away, and then you'll be fine. But
Mhm.
for you to seek out therapy during that time, like you said, where it's just not, it wasn't as common
Mhm.
and people didn't
Mhm.
talk about it. I think that's
Mhm.
a great start of knowing that you needed help,
Yeah.
a
Oh yeah.
combination of help. Yeah. A believer, someone who believe and to could give you therapy for your emotional side and your spiritual side.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes, that was very important to me. I just didn't want to go to a therapist. I wanted to go to a faith-based therapist that I knew that would, combine my relationship with Christ in
Okay.
my
Mhm.
healing journey from
Okay.
this relationship.
Okay. So we're now in therapy. We're out of this, relationship. How long did it take before you felt you were ready to start dating again and trying the waters?
It was years.
Oh
It
wow.
was it was it was years because I just I didn't have the desire anymore after that. Like it totally
Mm.
like messed me up. And so I was
Okay.
just like, I don't want to go through that again. But eventually I was like, you know what? Now that I'm well equipped, I got these red flags. I know what I need to do.
Mhm.
Right.
Let's just put our toe back in and
Okay.
Mhm.
see.
Mhm.
And but this time when I was dating, if I saw some red flags and they weren't going to be addressed or they were trying to sweep it under the rug, two fingers.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I had a newfound appreciation for go ahead and then not staying in a place too long.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
So and I had threw all the timelines out the window. That's the first thing that had to go because
Oh,
That's good.
good.
because God had a plan for my life and it was going to happen regardless. So
Mhm.
I didn't need to pressure myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a mama that pressured me. My mama she was one of the ones that did not pressure me. So I felt like, you know what, whatever God has at
Mm-hmm.
this point is going to be great because it's going to be aligning up with his will. So
Yeah.
I didn't mind being single and I didn't mind releasing folks that no longer needed to be in my life anymore,
Mhm.
because, I had freedom of no timelines for myself. Because
That's
that was one of the
good.
things I talked about in therapy. I had this strict timeline that I had held to myself. And
Mm.
so when my relationship failed, I felt like I failed not only myself, but
Mm-hmm.
any chances of me finding any happiness
Wow.
because of this timeline that I had put on myself, all that pressure I
Wow.
put on myself. And once I was able to release that,
That's good.
That's good.
I think if you're single, you need to put no timeline in the comments right now. I just sense this by the Spirit of God. We need to get rid of timelines. So if you're single, put no timelines in the comments right now, because that's good. Because I'm hearing you saying that your mom, you know, she didn't put any pressure on you. I'm assuming now we're in our early 30s by this time, you know, and we talked a little bit about this on our last episode with you and Taurrie, but let's talk about a little bit about the church and feeling some of the pressure of being single in the church, because we talked about that, you know, how if it's not our family talking about, you know, when you're going to get married, when is grandkids, we find that in the church that there's a heavy pressure. We almost treat in the church, and I'm speaking generally, right? We almost treat single people as incomplete or as second class. You know, the goal is marriage. So if you're not single, we got to figure out how to get you married. Is typically how we treat that within the church. So, you know, kind of talk through that.
So I did feel a lot of pressure from church. I mean, I've actually had a lady had came up to me and she was just like, "Why don't you have any children?"
Oh, hold on.
And I said,
whoa. Time on. Did you know this lady?
I did.
Okay. So it wasn't like a complete stranger that walked up to you in church.
No, it wasn't a complete stranger that walked up to her.
But still.
Well, hold on. You're not married.
Not married.
But she's wondering why you don't have no children in the picture.
No children in the picture. And I said, well, I'm not married and I didn't want to be a single mom. And she literally said, "You don't have to be married to have kids."
Okay.
At least tell me she wasn't like deaconess mama.
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't. Okay. So what was your response? Because I would be
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was taken back because I was just like, I was respectful. But I did tell my mom. What she said, my mom was like, "Don't listen to her." So she was just like, "Don't listen to her." But you feel that pressure from church because, you know, and then it was the pressure of, okay, why we don't see Kia dating? We don't see her talking to anybody. And I told my mom, I said, I know people are assuming things about me. I said, but I can't let that deter me from what God is trying to do in my life, because there is a reason why I'm single at this stage in life. And I can't let that pressure of what everybody else feels that I should be doing get to me, you know, because it really can't get to you. You know, I've even had family members come up to me and say, well, Kia, he don't have to be perfect.
Wow.
You know, so I'm just like, oh, okay, y'all, but it's just not time.
Right.
But people feel, you know, but they feel like they have to say things to you. And I'm just like, you know, I used to tell my friends, I said, nobody makes you feel single than other people, because, you know, I'm the one living the life, but people remind you, you know, that you are single and you're tired. You know, they try. I feel like they put their own insecurities onto me.
Yeah.
You know, because I was out there, you know, since I was single, I traveled a lot. Me and my sister traveled, and people would say, well, maybe if you would just stop traveling, maybe you find you somebody. Oh yeah, it gets.
Stop living your life. Okay.
And I was like, no.
He might be out there. He might be in one of those.
So just different things like that, you know, that type of pressure that you just have to release that over to God, because that's their own thing that they're dealing with. That has nothing to do with you. Single ladies, when people remind you about your singleness or they bring stuff up like that to you, that's their own thing. That has nothing to do with you. And you can just put that in the background, because you're exactly where you need to be.
Exactly.
That's good.
Now, let's talk about them thinking that you have all the time in the world because you're single. obviously you have all the time in the world to do whatever they need because, you know, they got kids and they got jobs and family. Have you come into those situations where, you know, people just assume that you have all the time in the world because you don't have all these other
that you can volunteer in every portion of the church?
Yep. Yes.
And we say this because we've had more single friends in the last couple of years of our life than we've had married couples. And I really listened to what they were saying to me. Like, people always think I got all the time in the world. I'm busy. I got stuff. I try to, you know, keep busy and different things like that. And I was listening to them. I'm like, you're right. You do. You make sure that you do fill your time with things that is meaningful to you. And it doesn't have to be kids or someone else, you know? And so I started to honor our singles a lot more when I realized that they were feeling that additional pressure that they didn't need to feel, you know? It's just like, oh my God, I was like, I'm glad I'm not single, but if you are single, I was just telling them, celebrate yourself. Make sure you make time for yourself and don't feel, like you said, overwhelmed because of other people's insecurities, you know, or the feeling that they're looking at you strange because you're not married.
Right.
I think
I didn't bring people around, you know, and I wasn't that type of person. I didn't bring people around my family, especially if I had already gotten a sign that they not it. I'm not just going to bring anybody around just so everybody can say, oh, she's actively dating. I didn't do that. I was very protective of my family, and I didn't bring a lot of people around them. They can count on one hand, probably two. I didn't believe in that. When I was dating, I was dating. I didn't need to broadcast that, you know. And so I didn't. So they had no idea what was going on, but they just assumed, you know, she doesn't have anything going on. You know, let's call on her. We know she can do it. She, you know, she ain't busy. She ain't got no kids. She ain't got no man. She ain't busy. I was.
Minding your business.
Busy minding your own business.
Oh my God.
So you kind of talked last time, we talked about kind of dating yourself.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
So, he's so silly.
That's your fiance.
I think it was, yes. I think because I used to go to TDYs by myself all the time for work. And, you know, I would take myself. TDY is a temporary duty location.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I was going a lot of places by myself, and I was like, you know what, we're going to explore. So I did. I explored. I learned how to go out to eat by myself and go take, you know, little excursions by myself, all those different things, and then just enjoy the time that I had by myself. And I found out I like me.
Yeah.
Girl, you cool with it, you know. So I was just like, whoever you do end up with, they're gonna have a good time.
And how was the first time? Was it awkward for you? Did you?
It was, because people made it be awkward. They were just like, people, they felt like they had to talk to you, they had to stand by you, and I was just like, look, you don't have to do all that. I just, you know, I even went to a concert by myself, and this lady she just made it a point to talk to me and, you know, do you want me to sit next to you? I'm like, no. I can't by myself. People just, I think it just makes other people, it's amazing how me being single and a table for one makes others feel uncomfortable, because I'm fine, but it just flabbergasted me how uncomfortable it made other people feel.
Wow.
So
that's interesting. You know, now, and we're still talking about what is this time frame, because I know now we're like in the society where everything, like, people are talking online, people are socializing online. So we're talking about give me the like time frame. What year are you?
Like probably like early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s.
Okay.
You know, so I just, you know, fell in love with myself and, you know, didn't mind dating myself and taking myself places and traveling with my sisters. I even took up dance and started swing dancing and met
Okay.
a lot of wonderful people, traveled with that,
Mhm.
still do sometimes, and just enjoyed the time that I had, because I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to always do what I want when I want,
Right.
so I took advantage of that, and I tried new things, and
Nice.
and I just, I finally didn't see singleness as a punishment for
That's
some of
good.
the wrong that I
That's
did.
That's good.
good.
Because
That's
sometimes I felt like, I'm being punished from some of the mistakes I made.
Mhm.
But that is not how God operates. He doesn't operate in that
good.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once I was like, you know what, singleness is not a punishment.
Yeah.
That's good.
Even if I never, met Taurrie, I
Mhm.
still would have had a great life because I belong to God.
Yeah,
And he was going to take care of me through all of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Singleness is not a punishment.
Yes.
Put that as a title on the next one.
Okay.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of times that could feel that way, right?
Yes.
Well, maybe I should have dated more while I was in college. Or
Mhm.
when I
Right.
got out, maybe I should have made that my focus
Or there's
instead of
something
my
wrong with me, which is
career.
why God hasn't sent my person yet. And it
Yeah.
could be that God is getting your person ready for you. So,
Right.
real quick, I
Exactly.
want to
And
jump
me
in.
ready for them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I want to jump in. If you are watching on Facebook, understand that this is a sneak peek of what we do on the YouTube channel that we have. So definitely make sure that you continue to watch this here, but definitely make sure you make your way over to YouTube, or as I said earlier, the YouTube. Go to YouTube and make sure you subscribe to Conversations with the Crawleys. You won't be able to catch these conversations on Facebook too much longer.
With real people, right? This is real. I have to say
Real
that.
conversations with real people.
Right, because we have people come on with
Yes.
celebrities,
Yeah.
and they tell you half their story or what they want you to feel as a truth for them.
Right.
And then we making all these goals and then find out people been separated 7 years.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be talking about that. But I'm
Right.
just saying these are real people who are living out their life as believers,
Mhm.
and they're talking about real situations.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
singleness is not a punishment.
It's not.
See,
It
that's
really is
That's
not.
a
It's
podcast
actually
right there.
okay.
I'm
it's
gonna let you
actually a
run with that, Keith.
blessing. It's a blessing in that time, because
Mhm.
a lot of things happened for me. I got closer to Christ.
Mhm.
I got closer to myself.
Mhm.
I appreciated myself more, and I
Mhm.
tried new things. I traveled to some of the most beautiful places in the world. So
Mhm.
I had to reverse my thinking.
Nice.
That's good.
So let's talk about how dating is now, which our generation, we didn't, and I know we're not too much older than you, but we didn't have the apps. We didn't have the dating apps.
Mhm.
And I know still around your age, dating apps are coming out. We have the what is it? Christianmingle.com.
Mhm.
We got farmers meet. We just got everybody meeting.
Everybody. Well,
So
I actually joined a group on Facebook called Pray for Your Future Spouse about 3 years ago.
okay, was that your
Um,
first kind of social single thing?
no,
Oh,
I tried a dating site
okay,
years ago.
okay, okay.
And I did meet someone there, and we dated for a little bit. But that relationship ended, and then I didn't go back to the app. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, you know, not for me.
Yeah.
It was a lot of, so I joined a group.
Okay.
And it was cool because you were in there with like-minded people, and everybody had a go. I mean, you have your your couple of trolls, but
Mhm.
for the most part, it was a very supportive group, and there was classes and seminars you could sign up for,
Okay.
just teaching you different things, different strategies about prayer,
Okay.
and all different kinds of things. So it was very interesting to see that this young couple decided to start this Facebook group.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
So I joined it
did
about.
you know about it, or did you just come across it?
I just came across it.
Oh.
And I said, let me just jump in and see what it's about. Because if I didn't like it, I could just unfollow.
Yeah.
But I really liked what it had to offer, and the meeting different people was nice, and it was a good support system. So I really enjoyed it.
Men and women?
Men and women. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe at the end you can give them a shout out because they're still going on.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I believe they, because I think I seen something in my email.
Okay.
But that's how I ended up taking the challenge that was posed out of the group.
Okay.
They put in a challenge and I think this was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
They put a challenge out there, you remember I was telling y'all jump in some random DMs, and I told y'all I wasn't about to do that. Not in my 40s, I wasn't jumping in nobody's DM. And so they modified it to joining a paid dating site for 30 days. Someone suggested that, and that's what I did, and at first I was just like, well, we's day 28, and I was like, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of people that need to heal still. They're not ready.
Yeah.
So I said, well, we gave it a good run. I met I challenged myself. I pushed myself out there, and because they really wanted you to be intentional about it, like answer all the questions, put a descriptive in there. Like they really encouraged you to put yourself out there and see how that would work for you. And so day 28, I was like, well, we did what we came to do. And I was ready. Right. And I was ready to just, Lord, you just keep me from being a heathen out here. I'm ready to roll with you.
Because that is, let's talk about just a little bit. That is a journey, right? Saying that I'm going to keep myself until marriage and saying, okay, Lord, I want to honor you with my body and everything. When there's a lot of things around us that want to remind us about being lonely, remind us about arousal, if we could put it that way. And how did you find yourself to keep yourself focused where it wasn't on the flesh, but just saying, I'm willing to wait?
Well, it's definitely it wasn't an easy journey. When I decided that I was just going to stop all of that. It wasn't easy, and it was very hard in the beginning, but after year 1, year 2, year 3, and so on and so on, it just got easier, and it was a part of my daily walk. Just to get rid of all of that residue and all of that hurt and all of that shame and all of that, to not be carrying around all of that. It just made me light. It just made me light, and I just could. And once you have that light feeling, you can't go back.
Exactly.
You can't go back now that it's gone and it's out of your system, and you just can't go back to that. And so it was hard because I'm still human,
right?
And this flesh is like, hey, that's your walk. We got another thing going on here,
right?
So it wasn't easy, but the lightness of it all kept me.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's good, because we can't say, oh, it's just easy, I just read my Bible and just nothing kept, and I'm just like, okay, let's be real.
Right.
Your body has a
process.
It wants to talk.
Because your flesh remembers things.
Yeah.
Even though you moved on, your flesh remembers.
Exactly.
And so if you're trying to quiet that down and be like, look, we're not giving up our peace.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely so. That's good.
So
but no, go ahead.
But once, like I said, I felt so light and just airy and just, I was just like, I'm not putting this in jeopardy.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. So as you're in this group, we got this challenge. What did you learn about yourself through the first 28 days of that challenge that you didn't recognize as you were healing, going to therapy, enjoying your own self-time and things like that?
Well, I tell you, because I was so in tune with not only myself, but in tune with Christ, we was just, weeding them out left and right. We didn't stay too long. When we saw that red flag,
Mm-hmm.
we believed that red flag and we moved on.
Even if it was a little pinkish.
When I say these were red, I will not speak of some of the things that happened, but just let me know that it was never pink. It was always red.
Okay. So it wasn't
It
like
was terrible.
okay. So it wasn't real like, oh, because he drives a Toyota, that's a red flag for me. It was like real
No,
serious things
this
that
was
were
character. This was just, it was terrible. Like people, like the things that they would say to me, I'd be like, and I would ask them, I said, so when y'all say these things to females, do they respond to you? Like, I want to know, like when you say these inappropriate things, do they respond to you? And like maybe change your approach, because I mean, I could write a book on those 28 days. Like I could write a book.
And I think that's where women should really feel like he took it to Cheesecake Factory. I think a lot of women, they just kind of put up with some of what's being said to them or text to them instead of saying that, you know what, this is not necessary.
Yeah.
Yes, and I couldn't understand it, and I didn't know. And then I would get comments about you should be grateful someone's talking to you and different stuff like that. And I was just like,
Wow.
I'm a child of the King. You don't like it, somebody will. It was just so many different.
Spirit. It was a spirit.
It was terrible. it was just not it. And so I was just like, you know what? This I told my sister after the last one. I told my sister, I said, girl, your sister's done. I am closing this account.
You were tapping out for real.
I was tapping out, and I said, I'm just gonna have to figure this out because I can't do it. It was a lot of people in there that needed to heal and they didn't need a relationship. They needed to heal. And so, and I couldn't do that for them. So, I was.
Oh, go ahead. You was going to say something else. I had another question that came to
mind. Oh, go ahead.
How about face to face, like in church? Did you have any gentlemen approach you at church, or were people, kind of tell us, because when singles talk about, trying to meet someone actually physically at church, they said that's a great place because everyone should be like-minded. But
I've also, now this is,
hold on.
Let me just say this, because this is, again, we have been out of the dating game for a while. But one thing that I've noticed just sometimes watching some, especially when I was watching like some of those that were in college and moving on through early adulthood, was that it seemed like the culture of church sometimes was a hindrance because there was a lot of brother sister, and so therefore that was kind of encouraged.
That's exactly what it was.
Things. Okay.
A lot of that because you grew up with them. Just it was never really. It really was like that brother and sister. Like we still have that kind of camaraderie today. It was just we grew up at kind of like siblings, so there was nothing.
You couldn't get out the brother zone and the sister zone.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes when we would combine with other churches, our sister churches, sometimes you can meet somebody there, maybe strike up a conversation, maybe, but most of the time it was just friendships.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine, because I know you would say it's kind of hard for the male if there's always seemed to be more women than males at church. And so if a male did find someone attractive, then, and it didn't work out,
and he's trying to maybe move on, and now there's someone else who may also be at that church. Now he's a player. Now he's a dog. Now he's just running through the church when that may not be his intent, right? And likewise, same thing on the ladies' side. So that's unfortunately one of the drawbacks, unless it's, in my opinion, unless there is someone that is gifted towards helping singles navigate through singlehood.
Right.
I think that's one of the challenges that we have in church culture as we have it today.
And I think it sounds like it might help a church out here. Stop saying they're brother and sister. Are we telling them to stop? Like, I get it, but at the same time, if you're single, we should be telling them, look around, get to know people.
Because here's the thing. This is my brother, this is my sister in Christ, but this is my wife.
While we on her,
when we get to heaven.
That's a different story.
So, right?
I will be on streets of gold with my head down low, worshiping my Father.
Yeah.
But while we're on earth, you ain't no close to being related outside of marriage.
Yeah, but that's how it really was. I call them my church crew. We grew up like brother and sister together. So
yeah. I think that's a good segue for people to understand why they may not feel like, before they'd be like, you need to go to church. When you go to church, you can find you someone. But at the same time, if the culture is not there to help healthy relationships, I think it's balancing how to be a single and have a healthy relationship with someone of the opposite sex.
Because there's two parts of it. One is that we have to come against this culture that says that singleness is a disease almost, or it's an incomplete person. But with that also, we have to now not make it so difficult for people to see other people within the church as potential mates, where they have the freedom to explore that without feeling guilt or shame, because maybe the relationship didn't work out, but we can still be friends and we can still be church members. We had one person that I knew, because again, I'm married at this point. I'm married for a few years, and I'm watching this. There was a young man at the church that we served in Oklahoma who he went on like 2 dates with one young lady, and it would occasionally give her a ride home. Well, the church automatically just put them together. And so when he pops up with someone else who is also in the church and now they're actually engaged, it was like, well, wait, what happened to that person? Well, they went on 2 dates. It didn't work. They remained friends. Right. He now has his fiance, who is now his wife. Get over it.
Right.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, so at this point, we understand immediately red flags as we're talking through our challenge, right? And we're getting to the point where we're understanding that either one or two things going to happen at this, what I'm assuming was a 30-day challenge you had?
30 days.
That in 2 days, either God was going to present someone that was going to be appropriate.
Boaz was going to walk past.
Or we were going to be single for the rest of our life. Single life.
And I was really to a point where I was okay with that, because like I said, I was at a dance, I was dancing with my friends, and we were traveling and learning, and I was in a happy place. I wasn't in a state of, loneliness. I was happy with my life. God has blessed me tremendously with love in my life. And so, I was just like, what, Lord, we can just ride, we can just ride this thing on out, just help me not to be a heathen, but, we can ride.
Oh my God. And so she's like, this journey of mine.
Right. But Lord, God had other plans for me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I met the love of my life. So, I tell women all the time, let the Lord lead you.
Yeah.
Because if he brings it to you, it's because it's for real.
Right. Good.
And you may have to go through a journey of dealing with a couple of toads here and there, but don't let that deter you from that prayer, that consistent prayer. Because I put my future spouse prayer in a God can, and left it there, and just gave it to the Lord. Lord, here's my, and I changed it up a couple of times. I did a couple of Bible studies. I had kind of put a timeline
that
on the
timeline
Lord.
that we're not gonna
Yeah,
have.
so I had to rip that card up and
Mhm.
realize, girl, your time is not here. So I rewrote it.
Okay.
Look at all those timelines. Because not only would that would all that would do is put pressure on me too. Because what if that timeline didn't get met, and then we're back to square one?
Right. Exactly. Because you said a couple of great things. First of all, you didn't say kiss any toads. You just said go ahead and let them toads go.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Because people try to fix people and think
Ooh.
they can kiss a toad and they're going to become a Prince Charming. That is a Disney movie.
Or pray, fast, read their Bible, go to church 19 days out of the week, and hopefully this person will change and become what you need them to be, when they haven't, like you said, have done some of the healing that you did. They didn't do the work that it took necessarily to be ready for a relationship. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Moore's, you're right there. Hazard pay should come with dating options sometimes. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Tread lightly.
Okay.
But I like that you said that. And then that's what I was going to ask you about, if you would give us just a little bit of what your prayer was to God, because at first you didn't even think that God would be concerned about you having having a mate. And then now, you have your can that you indicated that you had to put your prayer in. So are you able to share just a little bit of what that prayer was?
So basically I just introduced myself to my future spouse, and then I also prayed for him. And then when I was talking to God, like I said, I had to start it over because I had put a timeline in there. And I rewrote it and I put, God, and let your will be done. And your timing, because the thing about it is because singleness is not a punishment. God saw some things that I needed to work on.
That's good.
Come on now.
Some things I needed to heal from. I wouldn't have, and it's just the truth. If I would have got married back then, I would be divorced now, because I was not equipped. I was not ready. And there would have been nothing to sustain the two of us, because I wasn't there yet. I just, looking back on, I just wasn't there. I wasn't ready. God wasn't punishing me. He just knew I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And so once I looked at it like that, it's not that I'm being punished. It's there's some things that God has to shift and move so that I can be prepared for whatever comes in my marriage or whatever comes in my relationship.
That's good. So, that's good. That is so awesome. Because I told Kevin that God had led me to pray for my future spouse. I was praying, and then God was like, I need you to pray for your spouse. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. I don't even know if he's saved yet. So I was praying for salvation. He needed a little but salvation. Praying for over his life, praying that he would be the man of God. I would be the woman of God that he needs to be. Because a lot of time we just focus on we need to find something,
right?
And it's what we need to be met, instead of saying, Lord, am I the person? Am I prepared to be that wife, that spouse, for the one that's coming in my life?
That's very similar to because my prayer was, make me the man that I need to be for who you're sending me, right? So I believe that once we get out of God's way, once we say, okay, God, do the work on me,
yes,
so that I can be who I'm supposed to be for who you're sending me. God, right. I don't know that I'm like you. I don't know that God has like one specific quote unquote soulmate for each person.
Yeah.
But I think if we do let God lead and guide us, he will give us some great options.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll give us some good options. But yeah, you got to be discerning enough to know what are the options he's sending you, and what are the options that the enemy is sending your way to derail you and derail your future. So.
Right.
Right. And it was my brother who had gave me a sermon from Juanita Bynum one time, and she was talking about, wifely duties and things. And I don't even know why my brother gave that to me, but he did. And when I listened to that CD, I said, oh, I would have been horrible. That pretty. I'm not ready, because you think that you're ready, you can handle all the hard things that are going to come up, because all you see is all the sunshine and roses, but nobody tells you the hard stuff that can happen in a relationship and some of those difficulties. So when I was in my relationships and the hard things came up, I was like, I am not equipped to deal with past hurts that this person had to get over. I wasn't equipped because it didn't work, because I was not equipped for it. And so there was some things that God had to show me, and going to therapy, and how you can deal with different things, because I just wasn't mature yet to handle some of the things that were coming at me. And that's what God was trying to tell me. I'm trying to prepare you for what can happen in the future, because I just wasn't ready. And so, but I equated that to a punishment at first.
That's good.
God doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me, or, he doesn't feel like I could handle something, or because of some of the things I've done in my past, I'm being punished now. But that's not how it was. I just wasn't ready yet.
Yeah. And that's good, because, and every relationship is different, and what your spouse needs and how you need to respond as a wife. Because I would look at my mom. She got married for a second time, and obviously I got to see more of her marriage the second time around than the first time. And one thing that she always did was iron. He would have to wear a business shirt, dress shirts every day to work. So she would do a lot of ironing. And I just knew, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to iron his clothes. And I hate iron. I do not like to iron at all. And so here I am trying to iron, and Kevin comes out and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm ironing your clothes. And he's like, you don't have to iron my shirt. I can iron my own shirt.
I know what I was doing then.
And I was like, what? I put the iron down. I said, man, I gotta go ahead and finish iron your shirt. Yes. The Lord heard my prayers, because I didn't want to do this for the rest of my life.
If I had a time machine, we'd be back at that moment right there. Like, go ahead and let her iron your shirt, dude.
And see, I grew up in a household where my dad used to wash all of our clothes, iron all our clothes for the week. And so, I was kind of spoiled in that way, because daddy did that. Daddy washed our clothes. Daddy ironed our clothes until he got tired of that.
Right, Taurrie? Yeah.
Right. So it's just funny how when you grow up, you're thinking, okay, well, this is what a wife looks like, or this is what a husband does, because it's the way we're raised or what we see. Because it was even talking to our daughter, because she was like, she's not a big cooker. She don't, cook that often. And she's like, well, I don't have to worry about it because all men know how to cook. And I said,
no, baby girl.
No, they don't. She said, yes, they do. I said, no, they don't. She said, yes, they do. I said, what would make you think that all men cook? Well, daddy cooks. And I was like, oh, you equate all men to the men that's in your life, men you see on a daily basis. And so because Kevin does cook, we switch, we would trade off. And for her to see that, she just automatically assumed when she got married, someone else was going to do most of the cooking.
But I agree, because that's how, that's how I was. My daddy, he would cook sometimes, and he would clean, and he would wash our clothes, and he would iron them, and he would do things. So I had a different perspective than some of my friends had. Now my mom took care of it. My mom, she was the main parent, but my dad did do those things. So I grew up seeing that. I grew up seeing a helper.
Yeah. So, that's good. That's good.
So when people were just like, well, these are the things I expect out of you, I was like, oh no. I don't know nothing about that. That's not what I see. I see the all around thing. So, together.
So as you're about to enter your new stage of life,
yes,
if you had what may be the two concerns, or do you have any concerns now that you have a new journey, right? That you're entering into from being single for, you're in your 20s and in your 30s, now you're in 40s. Is there still maybe some concerns or things that you're going to look out for to kind of help you navigate being married and having someone full time in your life?
My independent spirit.
Telling people where you are.
But no,
because I've been, I've lived by myself for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much gone and done what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. So, and if there's a problem, I just fix it. I don't really discuss the issues that are going on with me. I just take care of it.
Right.
But that's not how I want to walk in my marriage though.
Yeah.
I want to be more, transparent and lean on Taurrie. That's been the hardest part, I think, for me. Is I have someone that I can fully trust. I've never had that before. If I would have gave something to some of these toads, then I'd be on the side of the road.
Wow.
But because I'm with Taurrie, the love of my life, he reassures me that I got you, babe. He says it a lot. He's like, I got you. And I'm just like,
that is good. That's a good
that
one.
is good. That's been a hard, and I feel like that's gonna be a journey, but because Taurrie is so, understanding, he is definitely, I feel like it's gonna be a easier transition because I have somebody who is not only telling me he has my back, he's showing me he has my back.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Well, I think we're at the end of our time. Yes.
But we definitely appreciate, Kia, for you stopping by and helping us kind of get your story as far as living single. This is for those that may have just been coming in or watching on the replay. Once again, this is Conversations with the Crawleys. We do these type of conversations as well as some other things that we do regarding relationships. So, by the way, if you are a fan of Married at First Sight, all right, if you're a fan of Married at First Sight, we do recaps of that show as well as some other dating shows. So definitely make sure you are on the YouTube channel, getting that information and subscribing there. But Kia, we definitely want to thank you for stopping by, sharing your story.
For having me.
Absolutely. If you remember the name of that group, if it's still, at least
I want to say it's TOA. I want to say the letters are TOA.
Okay.
And it's Pray for Your Future Spouse. And I think that gears up around the springtime when they start doing the classes and the workshops and everything. So
awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
All right. Well, if you stay put, Kid, and then we're going to go ahead and close.
Yeah. So listen, we appreciate you all stopping by. Once again, this is Conversations with the Crawleys. We will see you all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.